on the J-Lo diet right now. I can barely even think. So this will be my best one.
And the tough questions get asked and answered.
Good Sunday morning. Thanks for joining us here on FlashPoint. I'm Ben Thompson, and joining me today, Charlotte City Council members LaWana Mayfield and Tark Bakari. Thank you both for coming. I appreciate it. Hey, a big week coming up for the Queen City. Charlotte City leaders finalizing plans for the NBA All-Star Game here this week. City Council is discussing security, transportation, hotel rooms, all of it. The event's going to transform the city of Charlotte, really, with 150,000 people coming to the Queen City. Streets immediately surrounding the Spectrum Center are going to be closed, with the transit center for buses being temporarily relocated to the 7th Street station. Police say with the crush of people comes an increased security risk as well. CMPD says they are ready and they are prepared. Since we have two Charlotte City leaders with us this morning, I'll ask them, we ready for the big game?
Well, I've been stretching, you know, I'm ready to go. The dunk competition, they didn't let me in, but I was aiming for it.
Yeah, I'm not going to actually be at a lot of the events,
Yes.
but I know that our city is more than ready. We've already proved that with the hosting of the 2012 DNC.
This is the biggest sporting event I believe the city's held so far.
So far, yes.
And it's worth noting, especially since this is a politics show, it comes 2 years late from when it was originally supposed to come.
Thanks to H32, yes.
Thoughts?
I'm glad it's here.
Glad it's here. Okay. The other big news from this past week, from the banking industry, BB&T Bank and SunTrust merging in a $66 billion deal. After the merger, it's going to become the nation's 6th largest bank. Their new headquarters will be right here in Charlotte, making it the second bank to have its headquarters here. The new name will be chosen before the deal closes later on this year. So, we're finally back to being a two-bank town.
Exactly, but also by the headquarters being here, hopefully we'll see a difference, because there was a time, even in philanthropy throughout Charlotte, that it was our leaders in the banking industry that really led the funding and the support of arts and culture throughout our city. So it's time to have those leaders back here, home based, opposed to based in another city or state.
And you know, running the Carolina FinTech Hub like I do on the private sector side, BB&T is a member organization of ours, and we are just overly nerdily thrilled that this is happening. We've been texting back and forth all morning. I'll tell you that the fact that they're going to be here is a big deal. We just covered the second largest banking hub title again, and now this is going to kind of teeter us way beyond that. But an interesting quote came out inside that press release. By combining these institutions, we'll accelerate our capacity to invest in transformational technologies for our clients. Our culture embraces the disruption of technology. You don't really hear that at that level of an announcement from a bank normally about investing and being part of technology. You know, BB&T launched a $50 million fintech fund. I think we're also going to see pushing the envelope now in Charlotte with this new 6th largest bank as it relates to innovation.
And here's the opportunity when you look at what has been created. So you now have Black Tech Charlotte. There has been a major divide within the African American and minority community within FinTech. Hopefully on the front end, and BB&T has been a major supporter. They were at the Charlotte Pride Parade last year and previous years. They have been a major supporter and on the forefront of diversity. So here's an opportunity to really look at what small businesses and minority small businesses will have an opportunity to grow as this merger comes into our city.
And I'm glad you said that, because we've actually proactively with the Carolina FinTech Hub partnered with Black Tech Charlotte. BB&T is one of the partners who's given us jobs for this new workforce investment program to impact upward mobility. So we're already starting to see the unification of the fintech industry here, and I think this is just going to move that even more forward.
We should say this means Atlanta is going to lose the SunTrust headquarters. They say that there'll still be a presence there for sure, and Winston-Salem's going to lose the BB&T headquarters, even though there'll still be a presence there. Is it too early to get any sort of sense of what this means for jobs?
It's probably a little too early, but what you'll know is that, I mean, when you read it, it's kind of a no-brainer given the geographic locations of where they were and where Charlotte sits in between. You will definitely see the influx of the top leadership and those jobs. But with that, I think there's already a presence here with both companies. So I think that you'll see it continue to build that, and I think there'll be more of the types of new market jobs we're looking for that create that catapult for upward mobility.
And also recognizing here's an opportunity for our region to benefit. Because the reality is Charlotte is 302 square miles. We're developing and growing very quickly. will also becoming expensive for some people. When you look at this type of merger and headquarters coming in, this is gonna benefit not only in home purchase sales as well as small business creation, the entire region, not just Charlotte.
Really getting into the weeds now, but we're a Sunday morning political show, so that's okay. Assuming it goes into one of the towers going up right now, a new place.
Well, my assumption is that they will be in the footprint where the rest of the banking world is here, but we've seen some hot expansions into South End and different things like that. There could be some mix up here. It's hard to tell.
Either way, super exciting.
Yeah.
Switching gears right now, this week, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers out in full force in Charlotte. Community groups reporting more than a dozen immigrants arrested across the city on Wednesday. This is some of the video you see here from some of those groups. Spokesperson for ICE says officers conduct target immigration arrests every single day, focusing on criminal offenders and other public safety threats. However, these groups, they believe these operations are really a response from Immigration and Customs Enforcement after Mecklenburg County Sheriff Gary McFadden got rid of the controversial 287G program.
I guess to a certain extent it is scarier because this is just going on the streets. It could just pop up anywhere, which is really, really scary.
The spokesperson for ICE says more than 90% of people arrested in the Carolinas by ICE officers last year either had a prior criminal conviction or pending criminal charge. Councilwoman Mayfield?
So,
Really
if
easy
you
message
have
to share
not,
with them.
Right.
if you have not seen the movie The Oath, then I encourage you and everyone to go watch that movie because it is the same conversation. We're saying that you have the opportunity to opt out. Remember, as a community organizer, I protested in the streets and both at county commission, excuse me, and with city council for us not to opt in to 287G. So we were told that this was optional. So when you have a sheriff come in and say it's not right for our community, when we say we are welcoming and open for all, and then right on the tail end, you cannot help but to feel that it is direct retaliation because we want to be a welcoming community. And we have a very diverse immigrant and refugee community. When you create fear in the community, that is a problem. Your city council back in 2015 passed legislation saying CMPD is not to question. The General Assembly then, 2 months later, created legislation for the entire state that basically made it illegal for officers not to question someone's status. That creates unsafety and fear in our community. You're seeing the direct impacts of that now.
Is this retaliation?
Well, I mean, I don't think it's retaliation. They told us that this was going to happen right when we were deciding on 287G. I happen to have another quote from ICE at that moment.
What's the date of that quote?
Right when the new sheriff took away 287G, they said the bottom line is, and this is in direct relation to that, if we're not able to take these persons into custody in the jail, we have no other choice but to expand ICE resources to go out into the community and look for them and find them ourselves.
So
it's either
find a quote
retaliation
that goes back to the previous sheriff, let's say when 287G was first introduced across the nation, and every community was told that you have the option of opting in or opting out.
But if you opt out,
So,
they still have to do
No,
their
it's
job,
not a
and their
point
job now
of
has
if
to be
you
taken to the
don't
community.
opt in, then we are going to force enforcement. If you have an option, that is the whole purpose of options. If you have an option to opt in on something or opt out because you don't feel that it's good for your community, but you're telling me in actuality, you don't have an option to opt out because if you opt out, then this is what we're going to do.
But-
And
but
that is how you see
But
it play out.
then I guess it comes down to whether or not you want ICE to exist or not.
Yes.
Because it is
It's
That
not
is
a
a
question
totally
of if I
different
want
question.
ICE to exist because we don't have, where are we doing checkpoints for Canadians that live in our community? Where are we doing checkpoints for people who are
Well, checkpoints
other
though-
immigrant, of
checkpoints
other
though is-
descent?
Checkpoints is a
then-
very specific thing versus say, knowing that certain people have.
Targeting.
Control.
So let's think about this.
Okay.
What is targeting? So if we're going to target immigrants in our community that we say are here illegally, because there's no such thing as an illegal immigrant, you have people who are undocumented, then make that target for all people, not just for certain people. And right now, it does seem like retaliation because it is very specific and overwhelmingly for who appears to be Latino.
I think the bottom line is, if you're against ICE existing or them doing their job at all, no offense, it's a big deal, but that's where you go run for Congress and you fix it. We're sitting down here on this level, and if we opt out of 287G, we're not saying they can't do their job. This is the land of the law, or land of laws, and they have to be able to do their job. So there will be repercussions, and in doing that, we're now seeing them.
And offense
we made our own
taken,
bed.
because if you get
We
to
made our own
opt, if
bed.
you're said, we can opt in or we can opt out, there should not be a retaliation for
Not
opting
opt out of
out.
ICE,
So,
opt out of
you can opt out,
287G.
if you can opt out of 287G, then we have to think about where could those resources be better spent opposed to harassing members of our community who are contributing.
We could talk about this all day, but we've got other stuff to get to, including a little controversy you got into this
Do you
past
think
week.
it's controversial to address racism and white supremacy? Let's talk about it.
We're gonna answer that on the other side of the break. Good tease.